There are 11 museums here on the National Mall associated with the Smithsonian. And one of the greatest parts about these is, besides the fact they just have incredible collections, is that they're all free to the public. You don't have to pay any money. And I'll tell you a funny story. I used to come here when I was young as a kid, and so I grew up thinking that all museums were free everywhere. Like, you just go in and you get to enjoy. And then it shocked me as a teenager into my 20s that I would have to pay money to go and see a collection at an art gallery or, you know, at a natural history museum. So I was really spoiled growing up here, but I have to say that if you're coming to DC as a tourist, this is definitely what you should be doing, is checking out all the stuff that these have to offer. And they range in everything from natural history to art to different cultural history, Black African American history, the Holocaust Museum, and American history in general. So this is a place where you're going to spend several days going through these because they're all massive. Well, I was sad to find out that the castle is not open today because it's under renovation. But if you walk around to the back, there is this fantastic park. And if you're here in the spring, these are all gorgeous trees here with pink blooming flowers on them. And it's just such a nice space. And it's really quiet because I think a lot of tourists don't even know it's behind the building here. And you can just walk around, stroll, relax, sit on one of the many benches, and just enjoy this beautiful weather. Well, there's a few more people back here now. They've figured out my secret spot. This is just so nice, but I'm going to keep going to see more. Now, before I get too far along in this video, I just want to let you know that it is really impossible to see everything in a single day here. And I really mean that. I've actually tried this before, running between museums and you know, getting the QR codes to visit some of them, but there's just not time in a single day, especially because they're so massive, and you could spend all day in the African American history or the Holocaust Museum. Those are things that take at least a half a day. So just be prepared to spend a couple days, or look ahead and figure out which museums you really want to see if you're limited on time. And if you enjoy using public transportation, there's a metro station right here on the National Mall next to all these museums and monuments. So you can just take it right to here, get off, and spend the whole day walking around. So that's another thing. Wear a nice pair of walking shoes because your feet are going to hurt otherwise. So right across the street from where I'm sitting now is the Washington Monument. And this, I believe, is the tallest structure in the entire city. And you can go over there and get in a line and go through security and go to the very top where you can get some views, which is pretty cool to do, but it does take a lot of time. Now today, I'm going to start my little walkabout here by going over that way to the Jefferson Memorial, and then I'll walk around the tidal basin and along the Potomac River over to the Lincoln Memorial. And that way I can see all the different statues and monuments they have over there. And there's quite a few of them. This will probably take me about an hour or two, especially if I decide to stop and take a lot of photographs or just kind of take a rest, enjoy the beautiful day. But I think we better get going because it's going to be a long day and it's still early. Looks like you can rent bicycles over here too. And there it is, right across the water, the Jefferson Memorial. Now all these trees, as you walk along the tidal basin, a lot of these are cherry blossoms. In fact, there are hundreds of them, and they were a gift from Japan a long, long time ago. And that being said, this is the largest cherry blossom festival in the country. So during 1 week in spring, usually between March and April, these will all bloom, and they're going to have a big party here, and so many people come to see these beautiful trees. So at that time, I highly, highly recommend, unless you love sitting in a car taking 2 hours to go 2 miles, take some kind of public transit into the city or carpool. You can see the trees here. The little pink petals are starting to come out, but I'm about 1 week too early for the cherry blossoms to fully come out. God, it is windy out there today. But I'm finally at the first monument. Well, that was pretty cool to see in there. But I'm going to continue now walking around the water here, because there will be a lot more statues and memorials to different famous people here in the United States. Oh, it's still so windy today. So while I'm here, they're doing a lot of construction along the water. Doesn't look very nice, but they did say it's because the tidal basin here, I think, floods a lot, and so they're reinforcing the boundaries here around the water, the walkway. But it should be finished in a few years, hopefully. I think the worst part about this construction is that they had to tear out a bunch of the cherry blossom trees here. I mean, most of them are still up, but there are areas where they had to take them out so they could do this work. So, but they do plant new ones every year, I think, so it should be all right. Once you get away from the bigger monuments, it gets really nice and peaceful again, because the crowds kind of dissipate. And it's getting a little bit warmer, less windy. So, yeah, I think I'm feeling a bit better now. If you like me and you have a tiny bladder, they have great public restrooms right here. They're actually heated inside, which is so nice when it's cold out. But this is the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial site here. And it is quite impressive with these stone walls and trees, and there's even a waterfall over here. The inscription on this wall says freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Now, this is not a video that gets political. I'll make one of those later, but I would say that these are the ideals that America has always stood for. It's what we believe. But these freedoms can always be taken away, and that's a very scary thing. And recently, it does feel like we're headed toward a darker time. There aren't really a whole lot of statues of women, so it's really nice they have one here for Eleanor Roosevelt. And at least they give her credit for all of her contributions. When these cherry blossoms are in full bloom, this is one of the nicest views you're going to get with the Washington Monument. This is a really gorgeous area here. along this path that goes right next to the water. And they have quite a number of benches over here where you can just sit down and relax. And I really need to eat something, so I'm gonna grab a snack that I brought. I'm feeling like I need something. Plus I got my bottle of water, which is always really important. Dehydrated, even on a cold day. Okay, I'm heading on to one of my favorite statues around the tidal basin here. And this one's a bit newer. This is the Martin Luther King Jr. one. I think they put it in not that long ago, although maybe it's been a couple of years now. When I was a kid, this definitely wasn't here, but I'm glad they did it. They really needed to have this in the Capitol. Now I'm just headed over to what could arguably be the most famous monument and statue in the entire city. And this is the Lincoln Memorial. They have memorials here that also honor wars that America has been involved in over the years. Like this one behind me is for the Korean War. They also have one for the Vietnam War, as well as World War I, World War II. And this is just so we can pay our respects to the men and women who served and who sacrificed for making the world a better place, hopefully. I'm gonna have to apologize because I think I'm really not getting DC at its best here today because everything seems to be under construction. I just got over to the massive Lincoln Memorial and there's stuff all in front of it because I guess I don't know what they're doing. Maintenance? We'll try to get a little bit closer though so you can see Lincoln in there. Well, it's open, but they've installed this ramp here. Not exactly sure why. Accessibility issues, maybe. And there he is in all his glory. And you can see everybody's here. Very popular place. All right. That was pretty cool to see. Just brace yourself for the crowds here. And now I'm gonna head down and check out the reflecting pool and start walking back toward the main area of the mall where I started this morning. Something that you don't even think about when you're walking next to this water here is that the reflecting pool is just a couple inches deep. I mean, you definitely can't swim in there, and it might only come up to your ankle when you step in, but you shouldn't do it anyway. You're not supposed to, so don't be trying to jump in there and run around. You'll probably get, arrested by a park ranger or something.
They can jump beside Chloe, hurry up. They can beside Chloe.
I just figured while I'm over here visiting all this touristy stuff and taking you with me, I might as well show you this really famous house that everybody keeps going on and on about. I can't remember, is it a blue house or a red house? Something like that. Maybe it was a greenhouse. (1600) Pennsylvania Avenue. And the mansion on this street that's famous is called the White House. That is where the President of the U.S. resides. That is his residence as the steward of the U.S. and its top representative. He lives right here. And so the owner changes every 4 to 8 years after each election. But this is also an area where you're going to get a lot of security and a lot of visitors, plus quite a bit of protesting. So just be careful. So right here is the house itself behind those big iron bars. And on this side, that's Lafayette Park. And you got a protest right there going on, like clockwork. And there's another protest over there. And this is as close as you can get. Without a pass, of course. I don't know how you get one, though. Alright, there's only so long I can stare at somebody's house before I just get tired. So now I'm going to head back over to the mall and check out a few of the museums while I still have a little bit of time today. The museums closed at 5 p.m. and it was already 2, so I chose to quickly visit 3 of my favorites, starting with the National Gallery of Art. This is a beautiful, quiet space where you can admire some of the most famous paintings and sculptures in the world. It's usually less busy than some of the other museums like the Air and Space or Natural History. If you're seeking a place of rest and quiet reflection with a more mature crowd, this is it. The next place I wanted to see is one of the busiest and most beloved museums in DC, especially among children. This is the very popular Museum of Natural History. After all, who doesn't love elephants, dinosaurs, and rocks? Finishing off the day, I walked over to one of the newest museums in the National Mall. This one is dedicated to the African American experience, which offers the most honest and realistic perspective on American life since its founding. The massive collections in this building are thorough and thoughtful, highlighting the failures of a nation to take care of its own citizens and the struggles of non-white people. From slavery to segregation, the work continues for equality and justice for all. Finally sat down. But today was a long day. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me, walking around all the tourist stuff, including the monuments, statues, the amazing museums. But now I think I'll just sit for a few hours because my legs are jelly. I think it was about a 5-mile loop to walk around everything and come back, so it was a good day. Anyway, I'd love to hear what part of DC you like, or any of your favorite memories from some of these tourist sites, maybe places that you'd like to come and visit. And be sure to ask me any questions if you have any, because maybe I can give you some answers. Stay safe, healthy, and happy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining me today. Life's a journey meant to be shared. Remember to always travel with an open heart and an open mind. Enjoy the ride and keep your eyes on the horizon for the next adventure. I'll see you out there.